Welcome to the Influence and Growth Mastery Podcast, the show for CEOs, consultants, and entrepreneurs who are ready to simplify, scale, and succeed with less hustle and more intention. I'm your host, Tonya Gossage, strategic growth consultant and creator of the CEO operating system. On this show, as you know, we explore delegate smarter, automate with AI, build authority without burnout, and grow through the power of real relationships and referral ecosystems. Right here, you hear straight talk, solo podcast, real world insights from leaders who are doing it differently and doing it well. And today I have one of those leaders with me, Eileen Snover, who is a strategic visibility and messaging expert who helps service-based entrepreneurs build authority without burnout, gimmicks, or cookie cutter tactics. After nearly 2 decades as an educator, she now works with values-driven business owners, typically around the age of 40 plus years and older, and earning around $150,000 plus, to clarify their message, optimize their presence on LinkedIn and Alignable, and implement content systems that align with their energy, their goals, and communication style. Eileen's work blends insight, strategy, and human first approach, which I love, to growth that leaves space for sustainability and soul. I love that, Eileen, and welcome to the show today. I'm so glad you're here.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Tonya.
You're welcome. It's good to have you here. So let's first talk about your journey on your way to success and how you got started. Share a little bit about that journey to where you are today.
Sure. As you mentioned, I am a former full-time educator. I spent over 18 years in a variety of educational settings. My particular area of expertise was working with students who were learning English as a second language. And although it did fuel my fire and fed me much transformation journeys of students, it didn't always feed my joy cup. There's lots of other issues that face educators in today's school situations. So last year, at the end of the school year, I was the recipient of an unfortunate piece of news. Due to funding cuts, my position was being cut. But instead of sitting and being sorry about it, I decided to use it as permission, as a launching pad to doing what I always wanted to do, which was to design my own destiny. So here I am. I began exploring digital entrepreneurship. I tried several paths: instructional design and customer success, but eventually landed on digital products, but eventually landed on social media, especially on LinkedIn. So that's my story.
Love it. So let's talk about that a little bit. So you ended education and then came straight on into your entrepreneurship journey. So any challenges during that journey, or has it all been just full of chocolate?
No, of course not. I mean, I think every journey has its ups and downs. I mean, honestly, there was a little bit of an identity crisis because I'd always I become tied to that label of educator, right? But there is so many different ways that we can view that label through, and that's really also a point of power and pride for me, because I am an educator. I know that I have delivered transformations for students, and I know I can bring a lot of those strategies and tools and tactics, and frankly, being able to take really big, complex ideas, concepts, processes, and procedures and break them down into an understandable way. I am really good at that. I am. No shame in my game, but it takes time to build credibility in a completely new space with zero network. And that's really where I found myself. I mean, I had built up a following of LinkedIn connections and things like that, but that's different than real life relationships and a real life referral network. I didn't have one of those. I didn't have an email list. I didn't have a product to offer. So literally starting from scratch. But
Yeah,
learning how
it's
to, go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead.
But learning how to generate, create those opportunities through real relationships, through networking, generating leads through content, learning things about how to participate in different types of opportunities to get my name and my content and who I am as a person out out there.
So let me ask you, what drew you really from the education space into what you are doing today? I mean, was there already an interest there while you were in education,
Yeah,
or did it just evolve from research, or how did that happen?
well, honestly, I it wasn't it honestly, I can say in the last 6 to 7 years of being a full-time teacher, I was really also looking to build that path out. I didn't know what that path looked like during
Mhm.
that whole time, but I knew I wasn't going to stay the course and earn the big, retirement package or things like that. My journey had already been very non-traditional up to that point. So, the model is broken anyway. So I did the best thing for me to do, which is what I love to do, is go learn new things. So I just kind of jumped on LinkedIn, started reading people's posts, people who posted regularly, and learning about like what kind of job, if I liked what they had to say, well, what kind of job were they doing and where were they doing it? And what did that job look like on a day-to-day basis? Because at this point in my life, I've already reinvented myself X number of times,
I get
and
it.
and I'm not looking for the long and slow journey, right? I mean, the time I have on the planet is the time I have on the planet, and I want to use it to the best, for the best outcome for myself, for my family, for my loved ones, for my community, and the impact that I can bring. And I know because of the audience that I worked with, language learners, and the fact that I've had direct experience working with people as young as 4 and all the way up through adult ages, and my natural love and understanding of technology, I can do it, right? I can help somebody else make that transformation. So there's not that big of a disconnect between taking a student and saying, where are you today? Your skill level. And where do you want to get to? That's your goal. And what are the obstacles and barriers between achieving that? And let's reduce and remove those as much as we can. And to me, it's completely analogous to today's entrepreneur who's already juggling so many different demands on their time. And they really need to focus on their business. They need
Mm-hmm.
to be focusing on that income generation thing, whether it's a product, a service. It doesn't really matter in the end, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the reality is that's not all that is on their demand plate, right? They have to figure out social media and promotion and advertising and networking and payroll and taxes and all of it, all of it.
The 50 hats that
The
they have
50
to
hats.
wear every single day that we try to
Exactly.
work to get them out of. Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
So with all of that, I know you have a very specific, I mean, you're very growth mindset oriented. How has that impacted your professional journey?
Without growth, well, without failure, there is no growth. Without
That's so
failure,
true.
there is no growth. Safety might seem, staying where you are might seem safe and comfortable, but we're not called to be comfortable, not in this world
No,
anyway.
no.
And of course, making that first step out is always scary, and you're always second guessing yourself. And all that self-talk can really derail you from making those steps. I mean, it was very real for me during that whole LinkedIn learning phase. I came across an opportunity to get involved in a LinkedIn mastermind. Now, mind you, at that time, my LinkedIn profile was not like digital wasteland. No, no picture, no banner, no nothing, just my name. That's it. Because at
Wow.
that point, as a geographically based, teacher, I didn't really see the utility. Why do I even need to be on LinkedIn? But
Mm-hmm.
it became a learning opportunity for me, right? So as I continued to learn, my profile grew, right? My profile page grew. I began to understand what needs to happen in each space of that digital billboard, if you will. And I got
Mm-hmm.
involved in a LinkedIn mastermind, and it was a commitment, a 30-day commitment, show up and post every day for 30 days. And it was scary because even though I'm educated, obviously, and what am I going to write about and who's going to want to read it? Right. But fortunately, he gave us a lot of like reflection questions and gave us different things to write about. And then the part that really was particularly energizing and exciting for me was the midweek Zoom meetings, because people would whoever was available would log on. You'd teach for 15 or 20 minutes, and then you'd get pushed out into breakout rooms, and you literally didn't know from week to week who you were going to talk to, where in the world they were coming from in the call, what kind of job they were doing, where were they in their career journey. And it was just like a super exciting, collaborative, almost laboratory kind of experience for me. Because you could talk about the teaching, you could talk about the prompt, you could talk about a challenge that you had, you could get feedback on a current post that you had just posted on LinkedIn. And you met people that you would never have ever had the opportunity to meet any other way. I enjoyed it so much, I wanted to stay involved. But he was changing from free to paid, and I was a public school teacher at the time. I don't want to pay. So
Right.
being resourceful and taking a little bravery step, I came up with some very specific ways that I could support him as the founder of the group, and give back to the communities in very specific ways. So I pitched some ideas to him, and he liked what I said and the fact that I took my shot. So for the next 3 months after that, I did content creation for him and helped manage the community there with the Slack channel. So it was validation, right? It was validation to me, because not only was I able to be successful personally, I was able to demonstrate that to somebody in a decision making position, and he believed in me enough to give me that opportunity. And of course, having great results doesn't hurt either. personally,
Right.
personally, I went from 0 followers to over 3,200 in 3 months. Now, were all those key people that I'm going to maintain a super close relationship with? Of course not. But the results still speak for themselves. I can get results. And then, of course, getting the metrics from my time when I was creating content for him and doing community management, I have those metrics as well. And the bottom line is, people want to know. First of all, they want to know you personally, right? Who are you? What do you stand for? What kind of, are you a person of integrity? Do you show up with a service mindset? And the next thing they want to know is, prove it. Like, prove to me that you can deliver what you said you're going to do. So
Mm-hmm.
both is important.
So there's three things. This was so good. So there's three things I wrote down just real quick that I want to bring out of what you just said. Was number one, challenges are so good. I think you said it was 30 days. Is that right?
Yep, 30 days.
So 30 days of showing up
Mm-hmm.
consistently. One thing that I did, it was in, I can't remember if it was March or April 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. I believe it was 2 years ago. But anyway, the moral to this is I was on a mission to grow my YouTube and get more comfortable on camera, because I wasn't that comfortable on camera. And so I had a coach back then, and he was wanting me to do Instagram. And I kept saying, Instagram is just not my thing. It's not my thing. It's not my thing. But I feel like I could get more comfortable if I did my podcast. And so he was like, fine, I don't care what you do. I just want you to just show up. And so I decided I was going to do podcast for 30 days. And so I did. I showed up and did a podcast every day for 30 days. And I could see where, and of course, I would never want somebody to go back and watch those today, because I'm like, oh, that would be embarrassing, because I'm not the same today as I was back then. But even when you start from day one, of that month to the end, you could see the improvement of how I
Absolutely.
improved on camera. But there were so many things that I did to help me to improve, from um, finding someone I was very comfortable with and putting their picture beside the camera, to also putting a sticky note with a smile to remind me to smile, and all of these things. But when you talk about a challenge and forcing yourself to be consistent, oh my gosh, that is so amazing. Number one, that helps. The second thing I wanted to bring out is you forced yourself to grow by, number one, you wanted to be into his next level program, didn't want to pay or couldn't pay, whatever the source was back then. It doesn't matter what that was. But the thing that I want to point out is, when we are on a mission and we have a why that's big enough, we find ways. I've had this conversation twice, once yesterday and once already today. Oh, no, twice today. I've had this conversation twice today, is that we find ways to make things happen. And you said that you had a conversation with him and helped him in his Slack channel, and then made content and got into the community and helped him there. Those are things that go towards your growth
Mm-hmm.
journey, your professional journey, and help your growth mindset, and help grow your business professionally. And the next one takes me into the next thing I wanted to talk about. Is, you said you went into these breakout sessions, which are sometimes very, you didn't say scary, but I'm going to use the word scary, and can be uncomfortable for people that are not used to that. But again, it reinforces a different mindset and a growth opportunity, because you are
Mm-hmm.
put in a situation where you're able to discuss things that take you on a journey that you may or may
Mm-hmm.
not have been on before.
Yep.
So talk to me a little bit about a networking strategy, or that has significantly impacted your business or your career, or even give tips about networking if you have that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But I want to talk about the fear. Fear is a natural reaction, and it's meant to keep us safe, but can also serve as giving us, quote, permission to not push through to the
Mm,
other side, to the growth. I mean, if you know the fear is rational, a poisonous snake, obviously walk away.
yeah,
But if the fear is not based on a real risk, physical, emotional risk, then it's okay to push yourself beyond. And of course, it's scary. But
mhm,
as soon as you're scared, that should be whispering to you that is the right move to make, because you're going to grow as a result of pushing past the point of fear. Heck, if we don't let every time fear came up to stop us, where would any of us be? I mean, do you think I
absolutely.
wasn't afraid to go back to college as a married woman with children, back to school? Hello? Of course I was. To
Yeah,
get, to learn how to be a student again at a different level while juggling a house and a husband and children, of course I was. But as far as the breakout sessions, they don't scare me. And the reason is I've taught high school English in an urban city school. So if you can do that, virtual networking, in-person networking, it doesn't scare me. And I honestly look at it as an opportunity. Reframe the fear, right? What is it that you're actually afraid of, right? And usually a lot of those fears can come from those negative self thoughts that we have,
mhm,
or, just a little bit of being uncomfortable. But again,
mhm,
uncomfortable doesn't mean unsafe,
right.
right? And instead of looking at it from a negative, well, what if you meet the most amazing business collaborator in that next opportunity, right? What if you meet the most amazing person who wants to work with you in a referral relationship? What if you meet the most amazing person that's just going to be a cheerleader for you?
Yeah.
And if you hadn't done it, you would have missed all those opportunities.
100%.
So
So
for as far
good.
as networking, you got to pick and choose your battles because you can't be all the places all the times for all the people. And so, it just it's part of that that balance and identifying what are the key things that are priorities, right? Because everything can't be a priority.
Mm-mm.
So for people in business, it has to be income generation. Well, and it has to be okay. And then after income generation, what else has to happen on a regular basis? And to me, especially in Alignable, investing that time there is going, especially as a person who needs to build out that business network, it is the best return on investment that you can make. Not everybody you meet is going to be a perfect match for where you are in your stage, but they could lead to the perfect match for where you are in your stage. It's like the story of the 6 degrees of separation, but really there's not 6 degrees of separation anymore. It's like 2 or 3. So
Yeah.
every person that you know and that you meet could be directly connected to somebody that you need to know.
Oh my goodness, that's so good. I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. Yes, this is so good. And so much power in the words that you're saying. And when you talk about um when you talk about networking and you talk about growing your business and you talk about um, you know, assisting people with their profiles and all of these things that we do within our business when we're working in our business and not necessarily on our business. Well, let me just add, when we're working on our business for revenue producing activity, how do you incorporate artificial intelligence, AI, into your business, and what are your thoughts about AI? Because before you answer that, I want to throw one thing in. I saw not long ago, and I even just recently saw something similar, a little different but similar, um, on LinkedIn, and it was so my first view of a comment was on Facebook, and then my second one was just this week on LinkedIn. But their comments are, and I don't want to throw out people that are branding or marketing people, because I love those people, because I do this too. But I get tickled because it's if you're using AI to create your post, you're doing it wrong. That was the actual post. It was all I could do to keep my mouth shut. It was all I could do. And there should have been more added to that post,
Hmm.
honestly. I mean,
Well,
they could have said, if
they
you're
said
not
it just
adding your
they said
human,
they said it to stir up controversy. That's
well,
exactly what.
I don't know. I don't know. There was not hardly any comments on it, honestly. But I think they should have said, if you're not adding your human element to it or whatever, yes, I could have agreed with that. But it was all I could do. But I don't want to go there. I want to talk about how do you use artificial intelligence, because I promote, that I help people
Hmm.
with AI powered marketing to help build their authority and their visibility. Do you do that same thing with helping people with their profiles, or no? Or let's talk about that a little
100% yes.
bit.
As I already shared, I love technology. I love tools. I'm kind of a junkie. It's really bad for me right now because like every day there's a gazillion new AI things being released. But
Oh,
here's
Eileen, I have to shut them down. I'm deleting emails when they come through. I'm not even opening them.
right, but
Get
here's
rid of the
here's
FOMO.
no, it's just because like I'm like, ooh, what does that one do? But
It's easy.
here's where I come in. Look, I am an English teacher. I have a master's degree in English, okay? Of course, I love human focused writing. I love humanity. I love good storytelling. Hello, hello, hello. Of course I
Yeah.
do. I literally, and then this is not meant to be a negative towards anybody else, but I literally have to change how I'm thinking about saying things, because I love fancy vocabulary words. I you know, but the reality is that that's my brain, right? Not everybody else is operating at the same spot that my brain is. Like, there's certain people that I can get into like little word play, back and forth with, and they'll get it. But that's not for everybody, right?
Yeah.
It's like um, the specialized terms and vocabularies in any niche. Let's take the word lead magnet.
Oh my, yes.
I've stopped using that word because it's a word, it's a niche word, and not everybody understands what it means. And if I'm using a word or a phrase that somebody else doesn't understand, it's a barrier. And I don't want my language to ever be a barrier. I've worked my whole professional life to not be that person deliberately. That doesn't mean I can't use those words or enjoy the, background of the language history and where it came from, and why French words have unnecessary letters in them, like the word lieutenant.
Yeah.
But it's the power behind the humanity of using the tool. I just listened to something from Simon Sinek. You know who he is?
Yes.
Big,
Yes.
big thought leader.
Mm-hmm.
And he was being interviewed about what he fears humanity is losing from over-reliance on AI. And I can already see it happening, because AI has become the default go-to for a lot of people to solve everything and anything, right? And there's both good and bad to that. And he said the bad is, if you never learn how yourself, you've deprived yourself of the journey of learning it.
Mm-hmm.
Number one. And number two, when you're dealing face to face with somebody, because you haven't learned it, you can't call on that wisdom or that advice or that life lesson yourself, because it didn't happen to you personally. You used AI. Like, you can ask AI, give the AI the scenario: I messed up with my spouse. What do you think I should do? It will give you a suggestion.
Yes.
And the suggestion might be a really good one and it might work. But does that mean you've learned anything through that process?
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, I use AI all day, every day, multiple ways. But, then you have to take that output and remember it still needs to be human, right? And that you're still, even if, because at the end of the day, human to human connection is more important, right? So if I start sounding too much like, processed AI text, then there's no warmth there. There's no humanity. It doesn't have all my stories, you know. It doesn't.
Yes.
It doesn't have all the learning that I've done personally and professionally, through my career, through my life, and it's never going to until they come
No.
out with the thing that plugs right into your head.
If they do, I'm not getting it.
But we don't want it to either. I just was reading another short article about the real cost that AI is going to have on low-level jobs across the board, no matter not service-based like plumbers and electricians. We still need real people to go do this. But I'm talking about low-level law clerks and low-level all these low-level jobs that people usually have to start out in. Because in a lot of cases, AI agents can start taking over some of that.
Mm-hmm.
So the reality is, it's coming. Our government's being slow to respond. I don't think we need to ban it, but I think some really good conversation needs to happen, because becoming dependent on anything, overly reliant on anything, is never a good thing.
Yeah, completely. I completely agree with that. And I mean, too much of anything can be bad. I still to this day have people asking me, thoughts about artificial intelligence. Is it good? Is it not good? Should they start using it? Should they not? I'm like, if you don't start using it, you're going to be left behind. And, I don't know how you're even going to work at some point if you don't start learning it. I got tickled at my granddaughter. She was telling us the other day that she got in trouble at school because they had to do some type of report, and she had Chat GPT do hers, and then her teacher had a discussion with her about copywriting and this long list of things, and she said, I didn't copyright, I used Chat GPT. And I was like, oh my goodness, we've got a long way to go, so
Well, and
but
the thing
yeah.
is that is a real thing that's happening in classrooms all over this country, because if your kid is middle school or older, or horrifyingly even younger than middle school, they already know about these tools, because
Yes.
and they're already using them, even if they're not
Yes, they are.
using them even if they're not using them well. And I mean,
Yes.
I was actually asked that at the beginning of last school year, because I interviewed for another position, teaching high school English again. I'm very versatile. What can I say? And they flat out asked me, well, how would you handle, AI in the fact that kids are using it to do their work? And I said, well, to be honest with you, it's going to be included in the first couple of weeks of our class time. And it's going to be from a position of, hey, I know this exists. There is a right way and a wrong way to use it. And here are some right ways and here are some wrong ways. And then it's going to be followed up by lots and lots of in-class short writing assignments, so that when they have to turn something in, I'm going to be able to notice the difference between what you've submitted before and what you're
Compared to now.
compared to now. And if it's too big a jump, we're going to have a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
And then I say, look, AI can help you come up with ideas of things to write out. I write about. AI can help you with an outline. It can help you find source material. If you ask it for links, it will start now giving you links. But
Mm-hmm.
if it's about your work, then you got to take the information, you got to absorb it, and then you got to create it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I worked on a bio yesterday, and I was asked to do something a little bit differently. And so I went back to some of my older bios and also used Chat GPT. And it just so happened that yesterday morning I was listening to someone on YouTube. It was an AI educator, and she spoke of a tool, a free tool that allows you to determine how much of your text is AI versus human. And I'm like, I need to write down the name of that tool, which I'll just mention it here. It's called Brandwell.ai. Brandwell.ai. And so I wrote that down and made myself a note, because I thought I'm going to make note of that, because I may want to use that in the future. And so yesterday, whenever I was doing my bio and I was reading it, I thought, this sounds a little bit AI-ish to me. And so I thought, oh, I'll run it through that tool. And when I did, it surprised me, because it came back as human. And so I was like, okay,
Well,
well, I guess I'm gonna.
I was going to even comment, of all the tools that they have developed, the AI detector one is well behind where it should be. And it looks for patterns. It looks for certain, if you do straight AI that's not been customized to you or customized to how you speak, you'll notice the raw AI tends to use certain phrasing a lot. It uses a lot of what are called those M dashes, those little M dashes,
Oh,
which
yeah,
I don't
I
have a
take
problem
those out.
well, I don't have a problem using them myself, because I would use them naturally writing, but it tends to do it too much.
Mm-hmm.
It uses certain words or phrases over and over again. So it's labeling it as if it has these, it must be AI. Well, the problem is, as we know, the AI brain, if we want to use that word, behind the scene, is growing exponentially every day. Because every day there's more content being put out onto the web. And therefore, the AI collectors are pulling that new data in all the time. So it is, it's kind of like all those sci-fi movies with robots that go badly.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's learning, it's becoming more smart. I mean, my husband just said this. He goes, the first time he tried to use it to solve a programming problem, because he writes custom software, it didn't do such a great job. He tried it again, and every time he's tried it over time, it's gotten better and better.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I like that. So this kind of goes right along with what we're talking about. And we talked about the tools because they're forever changing, but how do we stay? I mean, I don't mind changing because I'm an experimenter. I mean, things don't
Mm-hmm.
work, get rid of it. Let's go to
Me
something
too.
else. But so, adapting to change. So I guess, how do we stay on top of all this stuff, Eileen? How do we stay adaptable to all of the tools, all of the things that are changing? It's just, I mean, because we can't just constantly,
Mm-mm.
be looking at every email. Like I told you, as they're coming in, I'm closing them. I don't even get on AppSumo. I've not been on AppSumo since before Thanksgiving
Good for you.
because of, yes, I haven't. And I have people sending me things saying, Tonya, go check this out. And I'm like, I'm not going to do it, because if I do, I'll buy it. And I'm
Right. Well,
like,
here.
I probably have 200 tools, no kidding, or more. And a large part of them I'm not even using, that I've paid
Mm-hmm.
for, because I don't have time to go check them out yet.
Right.
And, I'll go, if as I need one, I'll go say, oh, well, do I have something like that? Or I hear somebody talking about a new one and I'll be like, do I have something like that? But yeah, so staying on top of everything that's coming out. How are you, staying on top of everything?
Well, I think
Or are you?
first, yeah, I don't think it's possible. But first of all, you do have to have a growth mindset, right? But and
Mm-hmm.
as you're in business, and you're going to have to figure out some things the hard or painful way. You're going to invest in people or tools or systems or software or whatever that aren't a good fit for you for whatever reason. And you just have to chalk it up to a learning. Learning. I learned that it didn't work, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Edison didn't count his 1,000. He did over 1,000 experiments to figure out what would work in a light bulb. He didn't count those as failures. He counted them as things that didn't work, right? And that's a totally different
I
mindset.
love that.
But for now, it is having a growth mindset. It's finding a couple voices that you're open to continuing to listen to, because you recognize their leadership in that particular space. It's constantly evaluating, like, what am I currently using? Is it serving the needs that I have? Is it? It's asking proactively. Is there a new need that a tool or software could help me? Help me be more efficient, more effective, whatever. And if and then it is, if the answer is yes, that's the time to start asking questions and saying, well, what's the best thing you've seen that solves this specific problem? Don't go to these sites and don't click on the links because of the ritzy sales terminal, sales pitch. It's very easy to do. Both of us are very guilty of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reality is, we only have a finite amount of time. We have a finite amount of money. And again, is it going to serve you in a way that's going to further the transformation that you're trying to be part of for your clients, right? Is it going to further your business? Is it going to further your reach? Is it going to make you more effective at what you do? And as a person who loves to learn tools, it's hard, right? It's like staying away from sweets.
Mm, good
Sweets.
point. Great analogy.
Staying away from the sweet tea for my friend.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
And I haven't
Because
had any in a couple of days.
congratulations, but you know what? It's an exercise in restraint, because all these people that are creating these tools, all these SaaS tool developers, all these app developers, they're trying to get your money. They're trying to put their
Mm-hmm.
hand in your wallet.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's a good tool, bad tool, good people, not so great people, whatever the situation is, the bottom line is, you have to decide what's best for your business. But yeah, so being aware that you're going to have to continually grow and learn and adapt, but do it smart, do it smart, do it with intention, right? Identify one or two, maybe three people that are really plugged into that space who would give you, who are, people of integrity who are going to give you good advice, not because they got an affiliate link.
Yes, and that's a very good point. I love going to AI masterminds so that I can go in there and say, I have this situation. What's the best tool that you guys have found? And you'll get some really good
Absolutely
feedback from
Not
that.
that I'm against an affiliate link. That's not the point. But a lot of times the people that are affiliates, they're selling it to sell because that's how they're making their money. To them, it's not really about the human transaction. It's more about the financial transaction. And for me, the people I work with, I want both, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. So as we wrap up today, speaking of masterminds, we have a mastermind to go to as soon as this interview concludes. So what legacy do you hope to leave through your work, Eileen?
Oh my goodness. Legacy.
Can you say that in about 2 minutes?
Well, really, it's about empowering women who are lost in that shuffle, right? They're lost in that overwhelm. They're lost in the noise of the social media space, whether we're talking about LinkedIn or Alignable or Facebook or whichever, fill in the blank, to help them get seen and get paid for what they're really great at. A legacy, obviously, of leading with love and integrity, clarity, confidence, and meaningful work without hustle culture. We don't need any more dude bros. We don't need any boss babe Barbies. We're not going to be perfect. I don't need a Prada purse or Louboutin heels to do my job, right? You're more likely to catch me with my grandson on my lap, and that's just who I am. And I'm not for and we all have to find those people that speak to us personally, right, on a personal level, right?
Yes, 100%. Yes, I love that. So where can people find you? Where's the best place for you to be found? I know we've talked about LinkedIn. Where else can people find you?
LinkedIn, Alignable, my website, which is www.pathfindermarketingmagic.com. I'm on Facebook. I am in a lot of different places, so it's real easy to find me. I offer a lot of free, great content for people to get started with, and always happy to connect with people one-on-one who are aligned with my mission and my focus.
Very good. Do you have anything running right now that you want to mention?
Ooh, right now?
As we close, yes.
Right now, I am working on something called a digital product partnership, where I work with somebody who's got that course idea or notes on their hard drive. They don't know how to get it packaged and out there to be sold. I can help you get that done.
Very good. Very good. Well, Eileen, I appreciate you being here today. It's been a fun and enlightening interview to have with you today. I really appreciate you being here. And for those of you that are continuance and consistent listeners that have not subscribed yet, please click that bell and subscribe, and give us a thumbs up and leave what your takeaways are in the comments today. We appreciate you. Thank you for being here, and I will see you again next week at the same place. Talk to you soon. Bye.